All right, welcome to part 2 of publishing media products. I am in Louisiana and there's a big thunderstorm right now, so you might hear some thunder in the background here. But I just want to cover some basics and then show you some examples, especially like with Google Sites, with how to check permissions and such, because it's really important. So the first thing I just want to briefly review, and some of you know this, some of you don't, it's okay either way. Make sure you think about where is the product you're saving stored. So we can store things on the internet. Usually we say that's in the cloud. That means we uploaded it or we created it within a web browser program, and it's actually stored, not actually in the cloud, but it's stored on some server device in some warehouse somewhere, owned by a company like Google or like Amazon or something, okay? That means that since it's stored in this other location, I can access it from different devices and different places because it's in the cloud. Whenever you create a link to something, if the link begins with HTTP or HTTPS, that means that it is on the cloud. It is on the internet somehow. And if you have the right account permissions, you can access it. If you save something and you try to get a link and it begins with something like C or D or really any other letter, that means it's actually just saved on your physical device, on your computer or your jump drive. So other people will not be able to access that if they are not on your device. And if you go to a different device, you won't be able to access it from there. So we have to make sure that anything we create, we put somewhere on the internet in order to share with other people. When we do share, there's a few things we need to check, because we all have times we share something and it doesn't work and it can be frustrating, but there's a few things to kind of think about and check with this. One is to check account access, and I'm going to show you an example of this in just a moment. So always check to see if the person you're sharing with has access to it through their account. This is a big problem we have with Google a lot of the time because of how complex the permissions are. Make sure you can differentiate between what's the back end of your website and what the front end of your web page or your product is, because often there is a back end that's kind of like a backstage where you can create and edit, and then there's a separate place where the general user is going to come in and see. Try to use PDFs or open formats so people don't have to actually have your certain program in order to open it. As much as possible, we want to try to prevent making people sign up for an account even, although sometimes that's unavoidable. And then you can test by running it in incognito mode, which I'll show you in a moment, and you can test with different devices. So I just want to show you an example. This is a web page, a Google site that I was building with some other people on a project. And you'll see it's a basic Google site. And let's just do some work. Let's add a page, and we're just going to call it test page. All right, and we're just going to put this new page here. And then let's insert something from Google Drive. This is my Google Drive. Hopefully there's nothing confidential that's going to pop up right here. Let's add something from this, and let's add researchgoals.docx. Or how about this one, Melissa Research Journal? Not that one. This is a good one. All right. So this is my research journal. It's a Google Doc, and it shows up very nicely right there. Okay. So I can preview the site because this is my backstage, right? I can preview it by clicking this, and this is like the mobile version. Okay. And I can preview right here. This is like the regular computer version. On the computer version, I can scroll through my document here. And a tablet version, so I can use that to quickly see how it would appear to the user. But if I actually go to the front end of the website, this isn't going to be on yet, because whenever I make a change, in order for it to appear on the front end, I have to go here to publish. So I'm going to click publish, and I'm just going to go ahead and publish the version I have right now. Now, I forgot one little thing. Okay, just pretend like you didn't just see that because I want to show you something. Okay, so now that I've published on the back end, I'm going to go here and I'm going to click Publish Settings. And this right here, this is the URL. See, it starts with HTTPS of my front end website. So I can click there, I can copy that, and I can open it as a web browser. And oh, I have to choose the account. That's my first sign that there might be something fishy with this. But if I choose my Arizona State University account, it opens just fine. And I have this test page right here, and it also opens just fine. So I could say, oh, everything's great, it's working great. But we always want to test these things. So I'm going to go over here. This is on Chrome. Most web browsers have something similar. I'm going to click these three dots and go to New Incognito Window. An incognito window is basically a window that is not going to save my history. It's not going to have the cookies and site data. It's not going to have my account signed in. So sometimes if I have someone else using my computer, I'll open an incognito window for them so they can't access my accounts. Or if I'm having problems on some websites with some caching issues, sometimes I can determine the problem by opening the incognito window, because that does not count on my computer having stored up certain files. So it's kind of like a fresh start. So if I come to the incognito window and I type this, I can't access it because it asks me for an account. All right. So that's most people on the internet are not going to be able to access this website without a certain type of Google account. So I'm going to go back to my back end here, and I'm going to go to share. Now there's two types of things I can share. I'm just going to show you under here, under links. I can share the draft. And right now I have this so that the draft, which is the back end, is only with these people. These were my collaborators on this project. And then the published site, the front end, the published site itself is right now is set to only Arizona State University. So only people who sign in with an ASU account can access it. So I'm going to change that to just the public, and I'm going to save it. All right. So now let's open an incognito window again. And let's try pasting this again and see what happens. Sometimes it takes a minute. Oh, now I can open it. Okay, so now anyone on the web can open it. You don't have to sign in. Now let's go to this test page right here. And we have a problem right here. We have a frowny face. It worked fine on my account, but it's not working here. That is because anything you share has to actually be shared in pieces. So this document right here, it's not actually, the Google Doc is not shared with the public. The Google Doc is only shared with myself. So I have to be signed into my own account to see this. So what I need to do is go to the folder it's actually in, and I think it's this one, Melissa Research Journal. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on share, and I'm going to change these settings. I'm going to share this. I can share with Arizona State University, and actually I want to share it with anyone with the link. Anyone with the link can view it. So I'm going to save that. Okay. And then we're going to try this again. I got to get this link again because I think it just copied that link for me. I'm going to go to publish settings. I'm going to highlight this link again. I'm going to open an incognito window. I always feel cool when I say incognito. It's a cool word. I'm going to paste that. The website opens. If I go to my test page, let's see if I can see it. Ah, now I can see it because this is now shared with everyone on the web. Okay, so that's how you're going to test these things to make sure that anyone can have access to it. Let me just show you some other examples. This is Weebly. This is where I do my personal site. although I might be moving it soon. I haven't decided. But this is the back end of my Weebly site. So this is where I go to do all the editing on my Weebly site. When I'm done editing, I click publish, and then I share it with people through melissa-war.com. And that's the front end after I publish it. Okay, so that's just the difference between back end and front end. Now, some applications are also going to have a back end and front end. So for example, this is Canva. And if I just choose a design here from Canva, when I share this design right here, this is the back end of Canva. Okay, this is kind of like the back end. So I can share it. I can get a link to, if I just want someone to view it instead of edit it, I can get a link for that. And let's see what that looks like. I'm going to open in an incognito window again. And let's see what that link looks like. There we go. So that looks pretty good. It has a little Canva logo, but it's hosted in the Canva cloud because you can see it's from canva.com. But it looks pretty good. It's full quality. Another thing you can do with something like Canva is you can actually download it. So you can click download and you can download it as a PDF. That way other people can easily access and print it and such. So I actually, when I use Canva, I usually do export it to either a PDF, or if I'm putting it on top of something else, I might use a JPEG, but usually I do it to a PDF. And that's how I usually do that. So the different tools you use are going to have different settings. So you're going to need to go in and test the settings to see what works. And always test in incognito mode so you can tell if you have an account access, because sometimes you're just automatically signed in and you don't realize it. All right. Alrighty. One other thing I just wanted to mention, when you're looking at image quality, sometimes we take shortcuts, and I totally do too, where we decide to take a screen clipping of something instead of actually saving the file. So I can't do this right now because I have my screen share on, but normally if I use like a snipping tool and I take a screenshot, I can save it without having to download the file. The problem is that you don't get as high of a quality file by doing that. So it's much better to download the file whenever possible to have a higher quality version. Now, sometimes I do cheat. So especially with these in Canva, if I'm going to cheat and use a screen clipping, what I do is I make the screen as big as possible, because whatever my screen clipping is going to be is going to determine the size of my image, whatever size of my screen is. So the bigger I can make this, the higher quality image I can save. So if I am going to do a screen clipping, I put the image as large as possible before I clip it so I can get a higher quality image. But best practice is just to download it and use it. Okay, quick takeaways. Use the appropriate file types. Make sure you know what's going to have a transparent background, what's going to open in different programs. When you publish, try to use PDFs or open formats so that people don't have to have a specific program to access it. And then always test access to your stuff using different settings, such as incognito mode. All right, you made it to the end. Thanks for listening and good luck publishing your products.